If your brain just won't shut up, if you replay conversations, second guess every choice, and obsess over what might go wrong, I need you to hear this. You are not broken. You're just stuck in an overthinking spiral. And if you're anything like me, highly sensitive, thoughtful, and always wanting to get it right, that spiral can feel endless. But here's the truth. Overthinking isn't a thinking problem. It's a self-trust problem. And in this video, I'm going to walk you through the exact mindset shifts and grounding practices that help me feel calm, clear, and confident in my own decisions without needing to control everything. Before we dive in, hi, I'm Veronika and welcome to my channel. Here I share content to start creating a life that actually feels good, not just one that looks good on the outside. If that's the kind of energy you want more of, I would love for you to subscribe and join my community here. And if you want some extra support off YouTube, I have a collection of Notion templates designed to help you organize your life and your mind, plus a free weekly newsletter where I share reflections and little mindset shifts like the ones in today's video. You'll find all the links in the description below. Okay, so the biggest thing that I have noticed about my overthinking is that for me, overthinking shows up when I want everything to be perfect. Like when I record a YouTube video, I start spiraling about everything. The lighting, the setup, the angle, the script, the thumbnail, the title. Because in my mind, I'm comparing myself to this perfect version of me. And suddenly, good enough doesn't really feel good enough. Being in this mental spiral, constantly setting extremely high, unrealistic expectations for myself, feels exhausting. Because yes, deep down, I know that this perfect version of me doesn't exist, but my mind thinks it does. And so it's this constant chase towards an unrealistic goal that I can never achieve. And honestly, I don't want to achieve this goal. But my mind is still constantly trying to keep up with that perfect version of me. And here's the thing, that pressure to make everything perfect. It's not about sending an important message, choosing an outfit for an event, or even posting something online. In the moment, our mind is telling us that all of those things have to be perfect. In reality, it's about avoiding mistakes. We choose inaction because it's safer. You don't have to put yourself out there, which means that you won't make mistakes. I can personally attest to it. A lot of people who struggle with perfectionism also struggle with procrastination. We want everything to be perfect, but because perfection doesn't exist and we're afraid of making mistakes, all of that overwhelms us. And so instead of taking action, we don't, because that's safer. Because deep down, I believe that if I mess something up, if I say the wrong thing, something absolutely terrible is going to happen. And that is why I choose not to act. That is why I choose to overthink, just think about it over and over and over again, thinking that I'm just thinking things through instead of actually going, taking action, putting myself out there. What if not putting yourself out there is a mistake? Just think about it this way. When you're not taking action, you're also making a decision. The decision to stay put. The decision to not make a decision, if it makes sense. And that has consequences too. And what really helps me work with this fear of making mistakes is realizing that mistakes are actually lessons in motion, and we need those lessons. I want to keep moving, so I need those lessons in motion. And they only happen when you're moving, when you're doing something, when you're taking action, not when you're staying put, not when you're overthinking everything. And the longer I avoid taking action, the longer I stay stuck, the longer I'm depriving myself of those lessons, if you want to look at it this way. And so the practical exercise that I really want to give you guys here is this really good question to ask yourself, to journal about. Maybe you can talk to your friends about this question, to your partner. So the question is, what would I do differently if I wasn't afraid of doing it wrong? In my case today, I really wanted to record this YouTube video, and I'm doing it right now because I'm actively working with my perfectionism, with my procrastination. Right now is not the most perfect or the most ideal time for me to film. It is extremely hot where I live, very humid. It's just not very pleasant, you know, when in your apartment it's really hot. So I have a fan right here that is helping me actually take action and show up for you guys and record this video. Also, there is some construction going on outside and sometimes the noise is really annoying. I really hope you guys cannot hear it because I'm using a microphone really close to my mouth, but I can hear them, and sometimes they are distracting me so much from my train of thought. Sometimes I have to pause, I have to say the same thing over and over again because it's not perfect. Recording is not perfect, taking action is not perfect, and if I think that I'm just gonna sit here, press record, and just perfectly say all of my thoughts, all of my sentences, that is not realistic. Instead, I prefer lessons in motion. Like, okay, I know that where I live, sometimes it gets hot. How can I help myself when I record YouTube videos? Maybe it's going to be a fan. The same thing about the construction noise outside. Probably if I'm using a microphone closer to my mouth, it's going to make the recording process a little bit better. So what would you do differently if you weren't afraid of doing it wrong? You would have that unpleasant conversation you've been avoiding because carrying it in silence is actually more exhausting than saying it out loud. You would wear that dress because you like it and it makes you feel good. You would finally send that email you've been rewriting in your notes for days. And actually, while we're talking about perfectionism, let me share something I've been experimenting with that really helped me let go of needing everything to be perfect and just start. I recently tried out something called hosting your horizons, and it completely shifted the way I approach creative projects. And I want to say a huge thank you to Hosting Your Horizons for sponsoring a portion of today's video. Hosting Your Horizons is this AI-powered no-code tool that helps you create your own unique web application or website, even if you're not a tech person at all. For example, recently I've been thinking of creating a digital gratitude journal, something that reflects my values, my visual style, and the format I want. So I typed this idea into the Hosting Your Horizons AI chat. And guys, the most impressive part, it started working and coding everything, and within minutes, I had my structured web application. I can preview it, I can log in, I can type in 3 things I'm grateful for today. It works. And I also created a separate monthly archive with all of my past journal entries. Of course, if I don't like the initial version, I can refine the layout, I can change the vibe, and then literally go live with one click. It's that simple. I didn't have to sit there for hours planning every single detail. I could start, see progress right away, and improve as I went. And the best part, Hosting Your Horizons is an all-in-one solution. You can manage your hosting, domain, and email in one place. Plus, they offer 24/7 expert support and a 30-day money-back guarantee, so there's no pressure. You can try it out with my link below and use my code Veronika for 10% off your first month. Also, if you want to check out the gratitude journal I created, you can do that too. It is live right now and will be hosted on Hosting Your Horizons for a year, so we can use it together. Okay, moving on to the advice spiral. Because another way I've noticed myself overthinking is when I start looking for everyone else's opinion before I can make my own decision. Hey, what would you do? Do you think it's a good idea? Should I do it? I don't know, so you have to tell me and you have to decide for me. And I'm going to share something quite personal with you guys right now. Something I've been discussing a lot in therapy with my therapists, because I think deep down a lot of us overthinkers struggle with the same things. So the reason I ask everyone for advice is because deep down I don't trust myself to choose, to make a decision and then face possible mistakes. Because in a way, listening to someone else's advice is safer, but it is an illusion of safety. If I take someone else's advice and then it doesn't work out, I can subconsciously blame that person, not me, because it wasn't my decision, it was their decision, it was their advice, and I took their advice and I applied it to my life, and so it didn't work out, and so I'm not to blame. Of course not. This is what my mind is telling me. That feels safer, I get it, but it also disconnects me, from what I truly want and from what I believe in. I have found when I'm not in a rush to act, when I'm not reacting out of urgency, I already know what I want. I have all of the answers in me. I don't need anyone's validation. Maybe my mind wants it because it thinks it's safer, but I know I don't. And so that is why the practical exercise I want to give you guys here is this. Yes, it's okay to seek advice. The reason why I'm sharing all of this is not to tell you guys, never listen to anyone, never ask for advice. That is the worst thing you can do. No, absolutely not. That is not what I'm trying to say here. I talk to people who are experts in their fields all the time. I buy courses, I read books because I want to learn, and I know that I'm not an expert in everything in the world. Thinking things through is smart. Asking knowledgeable people for their opinion is a good thing to do. But there's a difference between clarity, when someone knowledgeable comes in and gives you this clarity so that you can make your own decision, and choosing not to make a decision, putting this responsibility on another person. Clarity moves you forward, and spiraling keeps you stuck in the same place. So when you're asking for advice, please first ask yourself this question. Am I asking because I'm confused and I absolutely need their expert opinion, or because I'm afraid to trust myself? And that is how we move on to the hardest part of overthinking, this loop that I fall into pretty often. I start overthinking the fact that I'm overthinking. It's like, I feel anxious, and then I feel bad for feeling anxious. Now I'm not just stressed, I feel ashamed of being stressed. And this is something that happens really often to overthinkers, to perfectionists, and procrastinators. We often think, why am I like this? Why can't I just move on? And so you have your first overthinking spiral, and then your judgment creates another overthinking spiral. And it's just like, it's so hard to get out of those overthinking spirals, of those overthinking loops, because there are so many of them. And that is exactly what you're doing in the moment. You're giving a label, a judgment to how you feel. And the first thing that I learned in therapy was, do not judge your feelings. Just observe them. Because we don't want to be creating this second spiral loop. Why am I overthinking the fact that I'm overthinking? Why do I feel anxious? Why do I feel stressed? What's wrong with me? You are allowed to observe your thoughts, observe your feelings, without making them mean something about you or about your worth. What I've learned from different grounding techniques is that not every thought needs to be fixed, and especially needs to be fixed immediately, because that's what we want, overthinkers. Not every feeling needs a label. You can just notice it and let it pass through. And that shift from judging your thoughts to just witnessing them is where you start letting go of overthinking, at least a little bit. At least you let go of that second spiral, second loop that you created for yourself. And yes, guys, I'm gonna be honest with you, and I'm gonna tell you that it is hard. It's something that I'm still actively working on. I'm really trying to witness my thoughts, detach myself a little bit from them, instead of just experiencing everything inside of me and overthinking and closing down. I try to look at them and let them pass through, but sometimes it's difficult. And so the practical exercise I want to share with you here is something that my therapist recommended I do when I'm spiraling in the moment, like right now, and I need help, like right now. I need something or someone to get me back to the present moment, to the present state. And this technique is called the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 grounding exercise. In the moment, when you're overthinking, when you're spiraling, you're going to try to notice 5 things you can see, 4 things you can feel, 3 things you can hear, 2 things you can smell, and 1 thing you can taste. See, feel, hear, smell, taste. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. It's pretty easy to remember. This exercise really helps me bring me out of my mind back to the present moment, to the here and now. And once you're back in your body, your thoughts lose urgency. And that is also something that I really try to do. I try not to make decisions, not to act out of this sense of urgency, out of this sense of being anxious and wanting to make a decision right here, right now, immediately. Instead, I try to rely on my true and my calm intuition because I want to make a calm decision. And what helps me do that is also asking myself this question: will I care about this in a year? In 5 years? In 10 years? That really helps me calm down, slow down, just feel that I'm here. I'm here right now in this present moment, and then try to listen to my true intuition. What do I actually want to do? Not my anxious mind, my calm, my relaxed mind. I think one of the hardest parts of being an overthinker is that I am either in the past, I'm replaying all of the events and thinking what I could have done, what I should have done, or I'm in the future, worrying about what could go wrong. But very rarely am I here, in the present, in the here and now. And I've realized that when I live like that, I miss so many good moments. For example, something that I really love is getting a massage. I mean, a lot of people really like that. It's supposed to be this calm and peaceful and nourishing moment, but not for me because I'm an overthinker. The second I lie down and prepare for my massage, my mind takes off. I start creating all of those spirals. I think about a bunch of different things. I'm not in the moment. And here's what happens. The massage ends and I don't feel like I even had one. I feel even more tired, more frustrated, and more disconnected because I missed the one moment that was actually for me. The moment of self-care. I was trying to take care of myself. So I got this massage. I worked hard. I earned the money. I paid for my massage, but I wasn't present. So I didn't really feel like I was taking care of myself. And this realization just makes me think how precious the present moment is. And that's what overthinking often does. It steals the moments we're actually meant to live. And finally, I really want to talk about why we cling to control. I'm someone who intellectualizes everything. I use my brain to solve problems that I create for myself. But sometimes I get stuck solving the same problem 15 different ways. And the reason why this happens is because my brain believes that if I plan for every possible worst case scenario, I will be safe. If I'm in control of the full picture, of the full situation, everything is going to be okay. I will be safe. But that's an illusion, and to be honest, it's a really hard realization for me too. Because the only thing that I can actually control is how I show up for myself and how I take care of myself. No matter what happens, because I cannot control the external outcomes. I cannot control what other people do, what other people say, what happens. I can only control my state. And so the reason why I talk about this in today's video is because I really want you to take care of yourself. Where instead of spiraling about everything that might happen, instead of trying to control everything, every possible outcome, all you're focused on is yourself, your mental well-being, the way you take care of yourself. And in my case, the practical exercise here is going to be yoga, because I personally really like yoga. I find it very soothing, also challenging, but I enjoy the challenge, and it really helps me take care of myself. There is a concept in yoga called abhasa. I really hope I'm pronouncing this word correctly. And this concept means a steady, consistent practice done with dedication. And the point of this consistent practice is to just practice. There's no goal. You're not trying to control everything. You're showing up for you consistently with dedication, with passion, with devotion, just because. You're practicing something over and over again, gently and with patience, because you are just so precious and so important to yourself. And for me, yoga became this practice where I learn to stay present, connected, and non-reactive. Of course, your practice might not be yoga. It could be daily walks, it could be journaling, or just 5 quiet minutes of deep breathing. But whatever it is, let it be something that you return to again and again and again. I call those things little islands of calmness, something that you have every single day or every single week that just brings you joy just because. Not because you're trying to be perfect, not because of another milestone, but because it exists and because you love it with all of your heart. Okay, so I think it's going to be it for today's video. If you liked it, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. If you want to share some feedback with me, please leave me a comment because I love reading your comments and your feedback means a lot to me. Don't forget to check out my Notion templates and my free weekly newsletter. All of the links are going to be down in the description. And if you want to build your own web application or your own website, I highly recommend hosting your horizons. You can get 10% off with my code Veronika. The link is going to be in the description as well. If this video helps you feel a little bit more grounded and clear, then I really think you'll love this one next. It's all about how to manage your energy and not your time using little shifts that actually work. So make sure to click right here and enjoy the video.